I'm doing fine. I hope you're also okay. Let's gossip here about Siyacela Dlamuka and his wife Thando Dlamuka. This, for people that do not know this couple, this is a couple that was made of two young people that were married few years ago on our national television. Let's start here. Thando was 15, this boy was 16, and I think they had to wait for Thando to just turn 16 before they can go on with the ceremony, the wedding ceremony. As to why these two kids were allowed to marry, I feel even today that this was our fault. As South Africa, we really have to take responsibility for this, because for us this was content, whereas actually this is real life. These two young people were never supposed to be allowed to marry at that age. What does a 15-year-old, 16-year-old know about the commitments of marriage? These two people were minors. How do we marry minors? I still do not understand. And which court married these two people? Even today, I do not understand. There was some sort of an intervention that was made by the social workers at that village, because this happens in the outskirts of KwaZulu-Natal, in the villages. The social workers seemed to have been interested in the case, seemed to have been looking for a way to stop that marriage, but they couldn't get through with it. And the father of this boy was very adamant that no one would stop that marriage from happening. Now, to this day, I still blame that guy, because that father, if we want to tell the truth, he was very arrogant, he was undermining, he was like a man of his own words, that thinks everything that is said by him, that is thought by him, is okay. So he thought it to be okay that when his son, who was only 16 years old, who was in grade 9, by the way, told him that he had a relationship and he wants to marry, instead of saying, oh, how come I cannot? You're still young. Let's put some money away. Let's wait for you to grow up a bit before you commit yourself into marriage, my son. No, he saw it fit to marry his son, who was only 15 years, using his own cows, bragging about his own cows, and the mother of Thando was not happy at all. The biological mother of Thando was never happy about that marriage, but I really do think the pressure of everybody else around her made her cave into agreeing that her girl be married to that boy. Even this girl had doubts towards the wedding itself. She had so many doubts. You could tell, even her body language, she was not free. But hey, everybody wanted content. No one said, Thando, let's take you to counseling. Let's seek if this is exactly what you want for your life. Let's see if your dreams and hopes are surrounded by this marriage. Is this what you really, really, really want? They both were at school. Now a marriage happened. They were married. Hey, that is a story for another day. The day they got married, I do not want to lie, it was a very sad day. It was as if my own child was getting married in somebody else's wedding dress, some old woman who has passed on wedding dress. Guys, that was sad. It was very, very sad. Okay, let's leave that. Now, let's look into their lives now. Their lives now doesn't seem to be rosy at all. Remember, if a couple marries very young, there are two things that are happening. There is continuous freedom for the boy, and there is absolutely no freedom for the girl. So she is now a married woman. She has to behave like a married woman. She had to go to school from his marriage home every day, whereas on the other side, the boy was allowed to leave school and leaving school and loitering around everywhere, and as a result he ended up having a relationship. He has another relationship that has been going on for a while now. I don't know how many seasons now have we been introduced to this girl who's called Mando. Now this girl seems to be a little bit older than this boy. Now all of a sudden he is attracted to the older woman, whereas at first he was attracted to his peer, and had he been given time to rethink his decision, he wouldn't have married Thando, I swear. You can tell that he wouldn't have never. After a while, he would have changed his mind about Thando. But now because he's married, he has to stay married to Thando, but he still has to maintain his freedom. He goes wherever he wants. He has a relationship with whoever he wants. On the other side, Thando has failed matric, has now given a birth to their child, is now a mother that has to stay at home. Fine. Now, on top of that, Thando has insinuated in past seasons that actually this guy is also violent with her. But I think because people had not seen it directly, it did not register. It's not the first time we established that there is violence in that relationship. But because now, this past episode, which happened yesterday, people got to witness, to see that actually there is physical violence in that relationship. And they also got to hear that actually it's not even the first time. It only registered yesterday that no, actually this is continuous. This has been happening throughout the marriage. So this boy wants to act as a father on this child, on this wife. Now, this was documented by Moja Love because these people were introduced to us by Moja Love in the first place. Now Moja Love is keeping pace with them, still continuing. This is season 5 of them introducing this couple to us. Now they documented this fight that happened yesterday. Not that we saw yesterday, sorry. So people were up in arms when they saw that. People were very, very angry. And they called for Moja Love to be cancelled because they felt like, how dare Moja Love jeopardizes Thando's life like that? How dare they focus on making money over Thando's safety? How dare they publicly show the violence like that? Now they have came back with a response. Their response says, for immediate release. This was released today, the 23rd of January. They've been trading yesterday, by the way, even today. And then the most recent episode of Isencane Lengane on Moja Love, DSTV, channel 157. So couple Siyacela, Zamoga and Thando engage in a heated argument, leading to Siyacela becoming violent towards her. Following the broadcast of this episode, there has been uproar, with some labeling this as irresponsible broadcasting. Moja Love would like to put it on record that the channel does not condone GBV in any way. Moja Love prides itself on producing content that reflects the reality in our society. Moja Love intervened as the scene was happening. It is important to point out that the Moja Love crew arrived during the altercation between Siyacela and Thando, and people were called, or the police were called in. The crew was not allowed to film this. Thando was given an option to open a case against Siyacela, but she chose not to exercise that option, and instead the channel moved Thando away to a different location from Siyacela. Counseling was offered to Thando immediately to deal with her trauma, and the channel is monitoring her progress. Her head of channel at Moja Love, Bokani Moyo: as a channel, we take violence of any sort seriously, and we do not condone or support gender-based violence in any way. It was important to air this episode of Isencane Lengane, as it is our social responsibility to educate our audience and mirror what is happening in our communities. Canceling the show is not the solution, but let's rather open the platform to discuss issues that are eating away the moral fiber of our society. Yes, so that is the statement released by Moja Love, based on the response of the people about the yesterday's show. Now, if you listen to the explanation, I remember this was mentioned by Ntando Baba Mdleje on her video on this matter, that she failed to understand why did they not call the police. So according to this statement, the police were called, but they were not allowed to show or to film that episode. We do know how our police are. Usually, most of the time, that's the first thing they go for. They want you to close the cameras. So I don't know. For some reason, I do believe that. I also do believe that Thando refused to open a case. Guys, we see this so many times. I've worked so many times with gender-based violence victims, particularly women. They do not want to open cases. The men are worse. Let's not even talk about the men. The men are worse. They don't even think about opening a case against the woman that does that to them. But the women, oh my goodness, it's a struggle to get a woman to open a case, even after they've collected scars and scars on their faces, on their bodies. It's not easy for gender-based violence victims to open cases. So I am saying, my point is, we are too late on trying to want to dictate what should happen in Thando and Siyacela's relationship. They are now adults. Thando is now an adult. From here onwards, the things are on her hands. If we were serious about wanting to save her, we should have saved her at a time when she was a minor, when she was married to another minor, when we know that actually our law says no minors should be married. The last time I checked, the South African law says no minors should be married to anyone. So I still do not understand even today, how did that happen? Which court married those two? That the person that married them, what did they see when they see their IDs are under 16? Because I think even at 18 you must bring a parent. If you are getting married and you are 18, you must bring a parent. You must bring parents to sign for you. Your guardians must come and sign for you. But at 16, I don't know. maybe the laws have changed, but no, man, that was so wrong on all levels, on just personal level, on just everything. How did even Moja Love agree to start shooting that at that time? That is what we could be asking. Right now it's too late. I agree with them that our society has got social ills, and for them to have not shown this part of the of Siyacela and Thando's relationship on TV, on national TV, like they've shown everything else. Yeah, I agree with them. They shouldn't have swept it under the carpet, particularly because Thando even refused to open a case. So this could be a way to reach out to her. I know she's not on social media. I know she's not anywhere. But I really do think after people have seen this, somebody will reach out to her, because she needs to hear often that she is beautiful, she is the she needs to hear that she's beautiful, she's okay, she can be self-sufficient even without Siyacela. Remember what the abuser does. That's the first thing that they do. They scrape off your confidence and everything that is about to end up living for them more than you. I just watched another episode. It's a past episode. I just came across another past episode from I can't remember which season it was. I think it's this season. There is somewhere where she claims if Siyacela would die, she would die too. No, it's not even another season. It is this season, because she is talking to one of her mother-in-laws, and then she's asking her how it is to lose a partner and so on. Then she claims if Siyacela, if anything would happen to Siyacela, I would die too. So you can tell where she is. She is now living for Siyacela, and this is what happens to many abused women. They've got no confidence. They are not living for them. They are living for the abuser. They forget about themselves. So what I wish Moja Love could do, this is my plea to Moja Love, how I pray that they come across this video. I really do wish they promise Thando that even if she were to leave Siyacela, the show would not stop. They would carry on documenting her own life alone, how she establishes herself outside Siyacela's marriage, outside Siyacela's relationship, how she can beat the odds from here. I really do wish they can just promise her that, because there is something that Ndandoga Babamdle just said, that one of the things that could be keeping Siyacela in this relationship could be the fear that, now I'm no longer going to appear in the show. And we all know that trends are addictive. We have seen the likes of Nota, people doing everything they can do just to trend. So somehow it gets to a point where people feel like, what will I be without this kind of fame? So I really do wish Moja Love can just promise Thando a show that will follow her after this relationship. That will be so good. That will be, then they would have completed and they would have redeemed themselves from this whole show that was unnecessary from the beginning. But taking into consideration that yes, it does happen and it has already happened already, how do we fix from here? So I really do wish that Moja Love team can just sit down with Thando in whoever that is counseling her, like they said they are offering her counseling. One of the things that should be discussed is that should she leave that Siyacela, she won't be discarded aside. This show will be taken forward, following her life from there, and they will help her by everything and anything to help her succeed, to show women who are coming from gender-based violence background that they can succeed, they can be themselves, they can choose themselves. They need to do it. They should not just show us the social ills, they must also show us how to get out of those social ills using Thando and Siyacela.